Have you ever felt like you're alive but not really here? Like your body's in the room, but your mind has quietly slipped away to somewhere softer, somewhere quieter, somewhere that doesn't ache as much as reality does. Maybe you've caught yourself staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m, imagining a different life, a different you, one where things make sense, where you're not tired of trying, that quiet drift into a world that doesn't exist. That's escapism. And whether we realise it or not, it's something we all do. Not because we're weak, but because sometimes reality feels too heavy to carry without a pause. You see, escapism isn't always dramatic. It's not just packing your bags and running away. It can look like hours of scrolling through other people's lives on your phone, losing yourself in the laughter of strangers on a glowing screen. It can be binge-watching shows until the sun rises, because the silence of your own thoughts feels too loud. It can be working non-stop, staying busy every second of the day, just so you don't have to sit alone with your emotions. Sometimes, escapism isn't about running from reality. It's about searching for a version of it that doesn't hurt. Psychologically, escapism is a coping mechanism. It's the mind's way of protecting itself when life becomes overwhelming. Our brains crave relief, comfort, a moment where the pressure softens. So we create worlds, in books, movies, games, fantasies, even in our plans for the future. These worlds feel safe, controlled, predictable. Unlike real life, they don't judge us. They don't demand anything from us. They let us exist without expectations. But here's the quiet danger. The more we escape, the more disconnected we become from the life we're actually living. We start to exist more in our minds than in the moments around us. Have you ever spent so much time daydreaming about the future that you forgot to live in the present? You picture a happier version of you, confident, healed, successful. But when you open your eyes, nothing has changed. That tiny heartbreak, that gap between who you are and who you want to be, pushes you to escape again. And just like that, escapism becomes a loop, comforting, but never truly healing. Think about the times you've told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," or "someday things will be better." Maybe you've imagined moving to a new city, starting over, becoming someone no one has ever disappointed. Or maybe you escape into people, into love, into friendships, hoping someone will save you from your own thoughts. But no matter how far you run, reality has a way of catching up, quietly waiting in the silence after the distraction ends. Why do we do this? Because facing ourselves, our fears, failures, unspoken sadness, is terrifying. It's easier to drown in noise than to sit in the quiet truth of our emotions. It's easier to scroll than to heal, easier to fantasize than to try and fail. Our minds tell us, just a few minutes away from this pain, but those minutes turn into hours, days, sometimes years. But here's something important. Escapism isn't always the enemy. Sometimes it's the breath we take before we learn how to swim again. It gives us hope, imagination, a place to rest. The problem isn't escaping, it's forgetting to come back. So how do we return? Not by forcing ourselves to face everything at once, but by gently grounding ourselves in reality. By asking, what am I really feeling right now, instead of pushing it away? By allowing ourselves to be imperfect, to take small steps, to feel pain without running from it. Healing isn't loud. It's not some dramatic transformation. Most of the time it looks like quietly choosing to show up, for your life, for your dreams, for yourself. Maybe that means putting the phone down and watching the rain instead. Maybe it means taking a walk without headphones, just listening to your thoughts without judgment. Maybe it's finally starting that thing you've been avoiding. The conversation, the project, the healing. It's about turning your fantasies into gentle motivation instead of permanent shelter. You don't have to stop dreaming, just don't live only in your dreams. Use them as a map, not a home. Let them guide you toward the life you want, but don't let them replace the life you have. Because somewhere in the middle of reality, in the quiet, ordinary moments, life is happening. In breakfast conversations, in messy rooms, in tired eyes, in people who care, in the way sunlight touches your skin or how your heart still beats even when it feels heavy. Reality isn't always kind, but it's real. And real is where healing begins. So next time you feel yourself drifting away, don't blame yourself. Just ask gently, what am I running from, and what would happen if I turned around instead? Maybe it won't break you. Maybe it will set you free. And if no one has told you this yet, You don't have to escape to be worthy of peace. You're allowed to be here, in this moment, as you are, still trying, still learning, still breathing. Reality may not always be soft, but you are strong enough to live it. Thank you for being here. Not somewhere else, not in a different life, but here, in this one. That's where change begins.